I'm going to show you guys a little look into my production setup here where I edit my videos on my cluttered desk. And we'll actually sit through a recent edit and see what the process is like. I thought maybe I'll do a quick video to show you guys my editing process. I'm not going to show you my whole office here because I got a lot of stuff sitting on my desk, but I will show you guys the monitor and my computer screen, and I'll let you guys watch me edit a video. Here's the famous microphone I use for voiceover work, and of course I always listen with cans. So while I'm editing this, you're probably not going to hear much about what is going on as far as the program audio. Maybe I'll put the program audio on my speakers so you can hear what I'm doing, and I'll explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it. And I'll make a short little video showing the process of editing here at my studio. There's my old keyboard from my beat up old computer. This is my amplifier that I use in the studio here. Again, I very seldom actually turn it on. I usually edit with headphones. I don't usually have the sound on when I'm editing. My ham radio sits on there on the 220 band. That's where people can find me if they want to talk to me on the air. I'm usually hanging out on 224.3. Well, my 2 meter set is also here, and those are frequencies I can also be found on if you know what my call sign is. I think you probably do because you probably see my license plate on my car. Anyway, I got my DAT machine here with a whole bunch of DAT tapes kicking around on my desk. This is my DA40, and it's a bunch of DAT tapes just lying on my desk. It's pretty common for editors to have a bunch of tapes kicking around. This is my HDV recorder or deck, and of course my card reader for micro SD and SD and compact flash. And then down here is this is for DV and HDV tapes. So this is plugged in by FireWire. Well, it's not plugged in at the moment, but it plugs in by FireWire to my computer. Lets me play HDV and DV tapes if I have something that's on tape that I want to edit, and it plugs into the FireWire. That's my hard drive docking station for my hard drives. This is an eSATA docking station as opposed to USB, and I have hard drives that I just pick up off of eBay usually. And this is drive number 43. As you can see, this is where my source material from my SD cards go for editing. I have a stack of them here. A whole stack of hard drives over here that I've been using. This is all source material from previous videos. While I'm editing, I'm looking at this. This is a 42-inch HD plasma monitor, and this is what I'm actually watching while I'm doing the editing. This is my work monitor, so I see in full screen, full resolution, what things are going to look like, and this is what I'm going to be showing you guys while I work away on this video a bit. So let's get started. So what I'm going to show you guys as I'm editing is I'm going to show you guys my desktop screen, and I'll explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it. You might see me putting my head in the way when I'm working on this. I may pop in and out of the picture. I'll try not to. I'll try to stay out of the shot while I'm working away. I've now turned on my speakers because I probably won't be doing any voiceover work at this point anyway, so we can hear what I'm doing. This is the Tascam DA30 video that I already just published because I published that one before this one, obviously. Anyway, I'm in mid-production editing this now, so I will just continue, and basically you'll see my mouse and stuff move around as I'm cutting stuff and so forth. And I'm watching the big monitor. So let's proceed.
just turning it by hand, it's already starting to get freer. But typically, it's these ones down here that go bad.
And if you're wondering how long it actually took to do this, I started on this around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, working on the actual DAT machine. Stopped for dinner for a bit there, but then continued after dinner. By the time I had it repaired, then I sat down and edited the video. I didn't finish this video till about 12:30 at night, so about 7 hours. I'm going to do a cut here as this part goes on too long, so I'm just looking at my footage here, and I can scrub my timeline. I'm gonna cut a section out here. I'm just gonna right click and select ripple delete, and then maybe I'll do a dissolve from one scene to the next. I'll do a cross dissolve. So now I don't know if that looked okay. Maybe not a cross dissolve. Maybe I'll tumble this away. That might look a little better. And then we'll drag it over to the side. So the image will just, there we go.
Get out my molly coat. We'll just take off some of this. I'm going to use some isopropanol.
So I'm going to take
out my molly coat.
Okay. I'm going to cut this part out.
Get out my molly coat. We'll just take off some of this. I'm going to use some.
So it's going to sound more like this when I'm done.
I'm going to use some isopropanol first and try to strip the old grease off, and then we'll put some molly coat on there. It's pretty sticky. You can see it's kind of sticky. It's right in here and underneath here.
We'll take the next file
and underneath here. And underneath here.
Now that fold up that I had, or my flip over, I had a gray background. If I don't want a gray background, say I want to have just a black background, I can select it, go over to here, and pick what I want my scene to look like. I want my fill color to be, say, black. Now it'll do.
And underneath here.
Oh, why didn't it go? Oh, I didn't click OK. Don't. There we go. So now I'll do a flip over with the black
underneath here.
And if I want to, instead of having it go that direction, if I decided I'd rather have it go this direction, then it will do a flip like this.
Here.
There we go. Just a couple of video effects that we can do while we're working on this. Try to break things up a bit. many keyboard shortcuts. Usually I'm starting and stopping with my space bar, but I can go reverse, forward. Now the computer I'm using is actually very old. I built this about 10 years ago. It's a Pentium i7, 3.6 gigahertz, 16 gigs of RAM. I've got, I think 5 terabytes internal and a couple more external drives. Faster, I can just tap the key again.
We'll drop the capstan motor out.
So maybe... And I'm still running Windows 7, as this is a dedicated edit workstation. I don't use it for internet or anything, so I'm not at risk of any viruses. I'm going to cut a section out, so use my mouse. I want to cut a section out here. I want to cut this section out, so just take it out, drag the mouse, delete it, and then if I don't want to transition, I just ripple deleted it.
We'll drop the capstan motor out. Three screws for that. Over here. And the screws that hold the capstan motor, and I put over another place. That's how I keep track of things. Is I try to keep parts, when I'm taking out screws, I put them in different places on the bench. Just to keep track of where things go. Just makes it a little bit easier. Capstan motor is out now. I can now get underneath this, operate this by putting power to it. I just want to see what it does. So I've got my power supply going.
You want to open up another clip to see what my next clip is going to be? I can.
Let's loading belt is out, so.
Okay, so.
Be sure to give it about 30 volts. That should do the job. No, just kidding. We'll power it up at maybe 3 volts. See how 3 volts moves the mechanism back and forth. When I power up the loading motor directly, I don't know which way is which. We'll find out pretty quick. Ground and power.
And of course, I can monitor my audio right over here. I've been editing with Adobe Premiere since the late 90s, and believe it or not, I'm still learning some of the features. This thing's got so many features and so much power. Even after all these years, I'm still learning stuff. So if I decided I wanted to do a voiceover, for example, and this might be, I don't know if I can do it with the sound on my speakers. I might be able to do voiceover. But so I'm just going to do a quick voiceover. I arm for a recording. I'm going to compose something. And then I'll think of what I'm going to say and then record. I've noticed that the mechanism seems to be operating awfully slow, as it appears to be gummed up in the gears as well. So we're going to remove that shortly and see if we can get this thing to operate a little more smoothly. And now if I play it back, and my audio of course is dropped in on track number 3.
I've noticed that the mechanism seems to be operating awfully slow, as it appears to be gummed up in the gears as well. So we're going to remove that shortly and see if we can get this thing to operate a little more smoothly.
Seems to be a little bit louder than everything else.
Louder. Controllers right over here. I've noticed that the mechanism...
Here's my problem. You see, I don't have my headphones on, so I can't judge how loud I'm speaking into the microphone. When I'm running headphones, I can hear myself. So I kind of overloaded the sound. If I put my headset on, I'll be able to hear what I'm doing a little bit better. But you get the idea. Whoops. No, I didn't intend to do that. We'll just bring that one back. I'm going to take that audio clip out and maybe redo it. We'll try this again. Okay. One thing I've noticed is on loading the mechanism with the motor, it tends to jam up as it's getting to the end of its travel. So we certainly have something gummed up in the mechanism here that we're going to have to take it apart a little further to figure this one out. Maybe that'll sound a bit better. One thing I've noticed is on loading the mechanism with the motor, it tends to jam up as it's getting to the end of its travel. So we certainly have something gummed up in the mechanism here that we're going to have to take it apart a little further to figure this one out. Now I may or may not end up using that voiceover. I may decide that something I may have covered in the next shot I may very well mention something while I was recording. So we'll see
this
what
one out.
my
The
next
loading belt is out, so seems like it's slipping a bit.
And the loading belt was slipping,
but
but
loose, but it's slipping.
it's not slipping because the belt is loose. The loading belt is slipping because the mechanism is gummed up.
For starters, get another belt. I should have one that'll fit that. A collection of belts. Let's see if I can.
Now I'm going to drop this shot completely because it was completely irrelevant. I did try another belt and it was still slipping, so the belt was fine. So we're going to just eliminate that shot and go right to the next one.
This one out.
So now I'm continuing to tear down the mechanism. But this just gives you an idea what I do when I'm editing. I'll try different things and see how they look, and try and keep things moving along, cutting out stuff that's completely irrelevant, and try to keep just what is relevant to the project I'm working on. See, right now I'm moving it by hand and it's very stiff.
Relatively stiff, so we're going to lubricate this part of the mechanism.
So I'm going to continue this edit, and then I'll show you the rendering out process once I'm done. We'll put some titles on it, and then we'll start the rendering process, which shall take a little while to do that. And what that will do is that will build the edited MP4 file, which then, of course, will get uploaded to YouTube. But I'm going to shut this camera off right now and finish editing this, and then we'll pick this up when I get a little bit closer to being done, because I'm still got a fair bit of work to do on this. And what would a production studio be without an air conditioner? That is an air conditioner that was purchased in 1993, and it still works. And it's been there for years. Not in this office, not in this studio, because I had a different studio before I rebuilt the house, but it was mounted in the wall in my previous studio, which I really needed it then when everything was linear tape, and I had typically 2 playback machines, a video switcher, audio mixer, and a record machine, and 2 monitors for the playback machines. These are CRT monitors, so 2 monitors for the playback machine, another monitor for the preview for the switcher, another monitor for the preview for the titler, and an output monitor. So typically 5 color monitors and 3 3 VCRs, CD player, usually DAT machine for sound, and mixer, video mixer, like a video switcher mixer, and audio. And that stuff used to pump out a lot of heat. So 10,000 BTU, 10,000 BTU window shaker mounted into the wall to keep this place cool. Even now, it's starting to get warm in here now. So, we're in November. I have to turn on the air conditioning because even with just the equipment that's running now, computer and plasma screen and stuff, I have to run this thing year round to cool this place down when I'm editing because it tends to get a bit warm. So I'm just completing my final title here. I've finished the editing, so I'm just dropping my title in. My title's going to kind of look like that. Tascam DA30 took a beating from an angry postal worker. Will this one ever work again? I want to do my classic zoom, cross zoom. So I know that I have to be out at 9 seconds and 15 frames. So I set my title to go to 9 seconds and 15 frames and throw my cross zoom on, both on the entry and the exit. And now it'll look kind of like this once I started playing.
I may have met my match on this one. I had a ship in from the United States.
I got this timed so that the
This is a Tascam DA30.
title zooms right at the same time that the background graphic zooms. See? So I say 9 seconds and 15 frames at rendered out at 60 frames per second. So as soon as the title starts to zoom, you'll see the other image appearing in the background. Of course, the opening logo was pre-rendered before. It's another rendered file that I just drop in. So that one's now done, and now it's time to render out. I make sure that I've got my project saved in case the computer crashes. I don't want to have to sit back and redo this again. I'm just going to go up to File, and I'm going to pick Export Media, and I go over and change it to an H.264 and set my preset to 1080p 59.94 frames, and then I got to think of something to call it. Tascam DA30. Thrown off a truck. Or, no, I think I've got another one called Thrown Off a Truck. A cassette deck, I think it was a... What was that? Which one was that was thrown off a truck? I had a cassette deck. It was a Sony cassette deck thrown off a truck. So we'll call this one here Went Postal. Went Postal. There we go. Tascam DA30 went postal. You have to come up with some cute names, right? Render the entire sequence, and then I'm going to click export. And I'm going to walk away from this now because this video is just under an hour. I think it's like 57 minutes or so. And this process will take a bit. The initial title will take a few minutes to render, and then it'll get going a little bit quicker. But this is probably going to take the better part of an hour or so to render out. So I walk away from it at this point and go to bed because it's like 12:30 at night. And I'll go to bed, and when I wake up in the morning, this thing will be fully edited, and then I can upload it and start on this one. Alright, so that's my look at my little editing setup here in my office, which, as I say, looks like any editing system that I've seen. Everywhere I ever worked when I was working in broadcast there for a couple of years, the control rooms always had tapes and stuff all strewn all over the place. In this case, it's hard drives. Anyway, thanks for watching. It's going to take an hour and 34 minutes. It'll actually be less because initially it's got to render the title out and stuff, which is going to take the time. Once it gets going, it'll probably be done in about an hour. and then it'll take a couple of hours to upload it once I'm done, because my internet speed is not that fast for the upload. Thanks for watching.